I'm tired now, but I just wanted to say my piece, say a few words. Alright, here's my piece, here's a few words. Um, I feel like I am having an interesting time dating, getting to know people. And there is something that I've noticed about some people. Like, there's like these books or whatever, like different videos that I've seen about like, oh, men like bitches. Like, basically, some people say like, oh, people like other high maintenance people, whatever. I don't really care about that much. But it's interesting, like what I am just gonna assume, just gonna say it straight up. I think some people, they end up with like shitty partners because they themselves also want to be shitty towards their partner, but they want to do it without feeling guilt. So if you're just like a pure soul, pure spirit, and you just really try your best to be the kindest fucking person, and like you're like, hey, like this is kind of shitty what you're doing, and then they're like, yeah, this is kind of shitty and you deserve better. Like, I'm just really tired of seeing online like, oh, he's just not that into you, whatever. Because like, I feel like some people, they are really into you, they really like you. And like, there was an expression, I'm not hearing it a lot lately, but it's like, it's not me, it's not you, it's me, right? Like that used to be a thing people would tell people to break up, and then like assholes would be like, no, it's not me, it's you, like you the problem. But I think that we live in a society, we live in a world, and many people, they want to do what they want to do. Like, they might want to be an asshole one day, and they don't want to feel any guilt behind it, because they know if they're partnered up with another shitty person, it's like, we can play the blame game all day long. But if you're partnered up to someone who's genuine, who's thoughtful, who's kind, who really would go above and beyond to make sure that they don't hurt you, and if they do, they're really apologetic and they want to get it right and they want to fix things. If you're with somebody who wants to do work to make both of you happy, and you're the type of person where you don't want to necessarily do any work to make their relationship work, like you just want to be partner with somebody, and how you show up, however the fuck that is, even if you're an asshole one day, you want them to just accept that. You're gonna choose a partner who you feel like is less than stellar, because it's like, all right, this person isn't perfect and I accept their shit, you're gonna have to accept my shit too. Versus someone who's like, oh my gosh, like, I'm so sorry, I cannot believe, like, I'm sorry, I forgot your birthday, and I know this is important, and I can't believe that I did that, and like, I'm gonna make it a point to remember. Like, versus that person, or someone that's like, oh my gosh, like, you threw out something that was really important to me, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I don't know if I can replace it or not. But like, someone who wants to do the work to recover, versus someone who's like, fuck it, fuck you, I can't take this. Because if you're with somebody who's like, fuck you, fuck this, I can't take this, then they feel good, because it's like, well, when they reach their breaking point, it's like, fuck you, fuck this, I can't take this, and like, they just stay together, because there's no work, there's no change, there's no let me do something different to please both of us. But if you're like, if that kind of person, they can love the shit out of, they can be better, more compatible with the person who wants to fix things. But if they look at themselves and they feel like, I do not want to fix, I do not want to change, I do not want to adapt, I do not want to grow for my relationship with another person, and we're all going to change, adapt, grow anyway. But if they look at themselves and they feel like, I'm not going to make any intentional efforts to do this for another person, I feel like that's why people are choosing assholes. Like, it's like, some people feel like, fuck this, I'm gonna be with someone who's also a piece of shit, because I don't really want to intentionally work on myself. And that's really interesting. That's a whole mood, that's a whole word. I don't, it's kind of disheartening, because someone can love the shit out of you and just feel like, I'm not trying to change though. And like, there's like the whole, if they wanted to, they would. Someone can like you, someone can want to be with you, but you're not fighting against It's not you versus, you know, other women in that person's mind. It's you versus like what's easiest, what's most comfortable for them. And that's not a competition. Like, that is someone's wiring, that is someone's way of being. So if someone is not on like a self-improvement track in a specific sense, because this is like interconnectedness, this is like how they adapt for relationships with people, and probably likely across the board they don't adapt well for relationships with people. Like, maybe they change jobs a lot, maybe they have like really close people in their lives, but like I was saying, like, they will be in a relationship with someone, but when they need their space, they will clam up. When, like, or they'll have arguments and they'll be loud, and it's not about growing to be as helpful and healthy as possible with another person. It's just about maintaining the status quo with that person. It's just about, I want to do what I want to do and continuing to do that. And that's probably something that they're like across their relationships. They do what they want and they want to continue to do what they want and fuck other people. Like, that is probably their mindset. And it's like, they can love you, they can care about you. But if you're a really good, sweet, kind, like loving, adaptable person, if you're an adaptable person and you're with someone who wants to be like unmovable, unchangeable, we're all going to change a little bit, but if they're not going to be intentional about making changes for you, they're probably not going to choose you. Because if you are adaptable and like a really good person, they will have to live with guilt. Versus if two unadaptable people are just going through life together, they don't face that same guilt, because it's like, well, this person did this to me, that to me, and that, and they don't give a fuck, so I don't give a fuck. And yeah, I feel like that's the world that we live in. I feel like some people feel that way, and I don't really know what to do with that information, except like notice the trend and feel like you're still lovely, you're still worthy of love, and adaptable people have to meet other adaptable people, people who want to make relationships work amongst themselves. Like, you can wait for someone who doesn't want to change to find it within themselves to be like, you know what, I'm not getting the life that I want. I'm gonna change this area of my life. I'm gonna deeply reflect in. But honestly, it seems like they're trying to avoid deep reflection internally. So if they're trying to avoid deep reflection internally, and that's why they choose the partners that they choose, they're probably not going to choose you no matter how much they love you. And that is not to say that like they really love bitches, or to say that they really are trying to make these people happy. A lot of them just want to maintain the status quo and not have to reflect. At least that's what I really think. And so, like, don't feel like I get disheartened and I feel discouraged when I'm like looking in the media and it's like, if they wanted to, they would. I feel like sometimes people, you know, want better outcomes, but they don't want to do certain other things. It's kind of like me. Like, I wanted like a flat stomach, but I don't really like the gym. So that was like a really difficult thing to come by. And now it's interesting, like, now that I'm like looking in the mirror and I'm like, oh, I really like the way my body looks, but like there are other things, like I really just want to work on my health. I'm reaching a point where I was like, I actually do want to work out, but I had to like reach certain goals and I had to transform a lot to get to this point. I never liked working out up until literally like the last month. Like, never in my whole life cared about working out until recently, until now, basically. So wanting a thing and something that helps you achieve that goal, if you're very unwilling to do that, like I wanted a certain body image, like, and the gym can help achieve that goal, dieting can help achieve that goal, but I didn't want to change my diet and I didn't want to go to the gym. So, like, achieving that goal is like extremely difficult. And it's like, well, how do you do that without changing the way that you eat? How do you do that without changing the way that you exercise? Like, how do you manage to do that? Other lifestyle factors ended up happening that changed that. Um, like, I'm a lot less stressed out. I have my own place, and like, I do a lot of movement. Like, it's not like intentional thought out exercise, but like I do get a lot of like movement, and like I was hanging out a lot in the city, so like I was walking around a lot, um, meeting up with like a lot of friends. I've been like, because I have my own space, my own home, I like to dance in the house a lot, like a lot of movement. Like I was getting a lot of physical activity. My diet did change because I live in my own home now. I changed like the food that I purchased, and um not to say that like my family's food isn't healthy, but like it's a lot of us. So like people try to make meals that'll like feed a group of people, like a lot of rice, a lot of like potatoes, like very starchy things, very heavy, hearty things. And like I can eat a lot more of like what I want. And I also have like a lot of dietary restrictions, like because I have a lot of food allergies. So it's like I can fine tune my meals to myself. And like if I like, and then there are other people in my family who also have like different dietary restrictions and stuff. So finding stuff that's good for all of us is difficult. Now, even if I want to eat something that like I shouldn't, I don't have to worry about someone else being upset because they're basically being poisoned. Like a good example is like me and my sister are both allergic to apples. I might decide to eat an apple because I want to, but like I can tailor my diet to my own desires, and I have so much more control over that. But I'm not like dieting. I'm not like, oh, I'm only gonna eat this amount of. I'm not consciously doing any of that. I just have a lot more control over what I eat. I have like a lot more movement in my life. And so I was able to do that without the gym. And this is like a whole tangent, but people who maybe have a goal of like having more kind people around them, something's going to have to change, but maybe not what everyone is prescribing to them has to change. Or maybe how it's thought about and how it's gone about, something will change for them, or the status quo will continue and they won't get some of the results that they want. Like a lot of people say if they wanted to, they would. A big thing that I like to say is actions reveal priorities. Because for some people, they might want to save $5,000, but they might want to go on vacation more. They might want to pay off debt more than they want to save. Like actions reveal priorities. Not so much if they wanted to, they would, because there's always trade offs with everything. So I wouldn't be discouraged. Like if you're pining after someone or whatever, if you feel like you're just not getting the results that you want, like if you feel like there are people and you're like, oh, if they wanted to, they would. They might really want to. They might really want to be with you. They might really care about you. Um, and it's like, well, then they would. Well, their actions reveal their priorities. They're prioritizing something else above you, and if it's something internal, like that they have to work out with themselves, it's not even a competition. Like sometimes, if people's priority is their own comfort, then why would you even try to compete with that? Like, if being in a relationship with you takes them out of their comfort and their priority is their comfort, like, it's not to say that you aren't the best person in the world for them overall. They're not valuing what's best for them overall. They're valuing their comfort. And like some people, like they know how to get someone completely out of debt, but it's like they're valuing vacation, they're valuing their experiences. And it doesn't matter if in 5 years from now they have a way better life and they'll be able to do all those experiences that they want. They can't see past their own situation. Sometimes people have to help them, like they have to grow internally before they can get what's good for them. And so I think sometimes people are choosing partners not because they're better, not because they feel like they're better at all. They might think that, you know what, this is what I deserve, right? This is what I can get. But it's what they can get based on the priorities that they have. And if someone's not prioritizing you, it doesn't mean that you aren't the highest good. It doesn't mean that you aren't the best thing for them. It doesn't mean that they don't even know that you're the best thing for them. it's kind of like there are like a bunch of different like questions that people pose. It's like, would you drink poison just because you're thirsty? Some people would. That's very ill-advised, but some people would. And you have to recognize, like, even if they're the most loveliest people, that what is rational to one person is not always rational to another. And I'm not going to call them irrational because maybe that person's going to die of thirst. Would you rather die of thirst or die of poison? If it's quick, maybe I'd rather die of poison. Like, I don't know. I'm not in that position, and I'm grateful to not be in that position. But some people are in this position of choosing people based on them not wanting to feel any guilt, remorse, or whatever. They choose people who they can just live parallel lives with and not feel like they need to adapt or change. Some people choose to live like that, and that is okay. But I do believe that some people make their relationship choices because others are so kind to them. They might love them so very much, but they cannot see themselves intentionally adapting for another person regardless. And that is something that I feel like is pretty profound. Like, it just kind of like, what do you do with that information? I guess you just sit back and you just watch, and you just try to find someone who you see as adaptable, intentionally adaptable also. Or you wait, or you try to work with that person. But if they're not trying to adapt, I don't think that they're going to take kindly to you working with them on that. They might appreciate it later. But for me, with my whole gym example, if there was somebody who like was strategic, like I really, really like going out. If somebody was strategic about like getting me to work out, like, oh, we're gonna park this car a few blocks away from where we're going to, I'm just gonna tell her it's because we want free parking, and it's gonna get her to get exercise. Now that I'm in the place that I am in now, I would appreciate that. Cause I'd be like, okay, you got the ball going, you got my stamina up, you did, but you tricked me. Right now that I'm in this place, I can appreciate that. But if I would have found that out when I was in a place of like, I don't want to work out, I'm not actively doing anything on purpose to do this, and other people are actively trying to make that change for me, with me, and they're trying to do it like covertly without me knowing, if I ever figured that out, if I would have figured that out during that, I think I would have been upset. Like, hey, I'm an adult capable of making my own decisions, and I've decided on this. And it would make me feel upset. So some people, you gotta give it to God. let live and let them do what they're gonna do. And hopefully they get everything that they want in this world. But if they don't get everything that they want in this world, it's because actions reveal priorities, and they've prioritized something else over other things that they want. And that's on Mary Had a Little Lamb. That's it. That's all. Maybe I'll take a nap now.